Hello, my beautiful and valuable friends, and welcome to this channel. I'm Tetevik, so excited to be here with you. And today we are going to discuss the subject how to stop being negative and become more positive. This is one of my most favorite subjects there are, and I'm so delighted to be here with you. There are many different books, many different techniques that you can use, and the techniques I'm going to give you, of course, I based on the science of the psychology. Everything in a psychology explains the things, puts things on its own kind of a little folder. And when we do that, when we clear out the mind, where we understand things, that's when everything becomes easier. I always say, with the knowledge that you gain, you can actually become a victorious, because the victory is when you know the answer. The victory is when you know what you need to do. So before we start, I need to tell you a very crucial aspect of negativity. You need to realize that negativity is a force. Negativity is an energy. Negativity is the way you live life. That's the way you choose to live life. And to prevent that, you need to give the opposite energy, which is positivity. Negativity is something very big that we deal with on a daily basis, and we sometimes do not notice how negative we are during the day. We don't notice what kind of things we think about. We don't notice how many times we make ourselves to be in fear, how many times we make ourselves to be in doubt, how many times we actually struggle to understand things, and we just struggle in our mind with these different fearful scenarios. We write stories in our minds that will never happen, so we scare ourselves. As negativity is an energy, negativity is a habit you establish, and later on that becomes part of your character. Also, negativity can be always won with a positive force, with the opposite force. If you have imagine you have a glass of orange juice. Imagine you have a glass of orange juice. Now, how can you get an orange juice without, pouring the glass, without touching the glass? Have you ever thought about it? You know what you need to do? Imagine that orange juice is negative energy. I mean, I have nothing against orange juice. I make my own orange juice every morning with grapefruit and lime and lemon. I love it. But let's just imagine it as a metaphorical usage. If you take a big cup of water, imagine water, or imagine any other juice, and imagine you have that, triple time of that liquid, triple time of that size, and you have your orange juice and you are just pouring your new juice or water. After sometimes, when you pour it long enough, you know what's going to happen? Your orange juice is going to come out of your cup, out of the boundaries of that cup, and it's going to pour on the table until in the glass now you have a new liquid. That is exactly how negative energy works. You cannot just withdraw it just magically. You need to put something against it. So if you have a negative thought, you need to put two positive thoughts. You get a negative fear, you need to put positive love. You have a negative person, you withdraw them away from your life, and you get the positive person. It is all about replacement, not fighting with it, but replacing it. And lastly, I want to just shortly remind you that every time when you think a negative thought, you dislike yourself. Every time when you are negative, when you choose to not be positive, you do not love yourself. So that's a very deep realization you need to have, that the main reason that you're actually negative is because you don't love yourself enough. Because after all, if you love yourself enough, why would you torture yourself? Why would you criticize yourself? Why would you scare yourself? Either you can have fear or love, and we are going to learn to love ourselves more. So let's start. How to become more positive and stop being negative. Let's see. I will give you in this video 3 different steps. Number 1, and this is the hardest because this is usually what happens when we have addiction. Number 1 is you need to admit you have this addiction of being negative. You have this habit of being negative, and you love it sometimes, you sometimes enjoy it. You need to admit to yourself and be aware that, oh, I'm actually a negative person. You don't need to say it to anybody, you don't need to admit if you don't want to your siblings or spouse or friends. You can tell to yourself, just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm sorry that all these years I have been negative towards you. I have been criticizing you, humiliating you. I've been torturing you. I've been scaring you. I've been making you to struggle with every thought that I give you. I'm sorry. I realize I'm negative. You need to admit it. When you admit, you're halfway done. You need to admit today to yourself. Pause this video and say, I admit that I'm a negative person. Just admit to yourself. I've always been a positive person, so for me it's a torture to be in a negative thought. I cannot survive in there. After 5 minutes I'm being like, no, I can't do this. Even if you force me to think something bad, I cannot. I want to right away think good. I right away say, don't worry, everything will work out. I cannot, because all my life I've been practicing positivity. So imagine if you're 50 years old, or even 15 or 95, doesn't matter. If you have been practicing something long enough, it is rooted in you. So it's going to be hard to withdraw that out. It's like a weed, you need to pull it out. It's going to be a little painful, but it is worth it. So number one step is to admit to yourself that you are negative, and to accept that you have been negative in your previous days. Also, you need to admire yourself that you have now accepted that fact. And now you can work against that. It's about being alert. It's about being aware. It's like a constant control that, oh, negative thought is there. You can acknowledge it. You don't need to fight with it. You don't need to discuss it. You don't need to analyze it. But you just acknowledge. You're alert. Oh, there's a negative thought. That thought actually is not even mine. It's just there. You heard in the media, maybe some of your relatives said something bad to you, or some colleague commented something at work, and you take it and you think it is yours. Don't make other people negative thoughts your own, okay? So number one, you are alert and you admire yourself when you can accept and actually see that you are negative. It's being aware when you are negative. Now we're going to the very practical step. That's, of course, is very practical as well. When you admit that you're negative, when you're aware and you're alert and you actually acknowledge. You see, that's all A's, aware, acknowledge, accept, admire, all A's. So if you ever forget, what do I need to do? Remember it was with A and one of the words will be correct. I'm just making you laugh. So yes, when you are alert and you accept and you are actually acknowledging you are negative, you can do only 2 steps. The step number 1 is to acknowledge. That's great. After that, you have only 2 steps left to the nicer way of living, to the way to the paradise, to the peaceful, restful place. So number 2nd step, when you have acknowledged you are negative, or negative thought is there, or negative situation you're putting yourself into, punishing yourself for something, then you need to turn off negativity. Like you turn off notifications on your phone, like you turn off the switch light, like you turn off the TV. Anything with the turning off option is really quick. Have you noticed that? When you're turning on TV, it takes a while to load. When you're turning off on the computer, it takes time until it allows you to log in. When you turn on the light, it takes time for the lid to actually, to bulb, to be bright in a consistency that it must be. Everything takes time to turn on, but everything takes almost no time to turn off. Have you noticed that? You can press the button in your computer and it is turned off. You don't need to wait. You don't need to do anything. You can press the button and your TV is off. You don't need to wait. Nothing is downloading. Nothing is uploading. You can switch the light and light immediately is gone. I want you to have this comparison and understand this is the same way how negativity works. When you acknowledge and you realize there is a negative thought coming into your mind, you need to stop yourself immediately. This is an immediate instant reaction. Immediately you turn off the light. You turn off the switch. Imagining yourself in your mind that you have this switch that you can turn off and on anytime you want. So practice this few times. Next time, when you acknowledge that a negative thought is coming to you, see, oh, right, this is what I've been kind of, looking for. Or negative thought. Ah, so you're saying I'll never accomplish anything, or you're saying I will be never married in my life. Oh, great, very nice thoughts. Well, that's negative. I don't accept. Turn off. If you can learn to turn off these negative thoughts, you will become more peaceful. Sometimes, you see that negative thought is rushing through like, 120 kilometers per hour. It's like a, race car, and like 1, 2, 3, you can't even, one word is replacing with another negative word. One negative thought is replacing another negative thought, and it is creating huge drama in your mind that you will never have what you want. You start crying, being upset, and to be fair, is complete lie. The lies that we create in our minds, the stories that we tell in our brain is abnormously dramatic. We sometimes can just make ourselves to become sick. Did you know that very often you actually yourself make yourself sick with the thoughts, with the fearful thoughts that you seed inside your mind. Your mind is like a garden. Your whole body is like a garden. Your personality is like a garden. Your character is a royal garden. And by every time when you are putting bad seeds, it's a royal, beautiful garden. Why are you putting bad seeds? Plant some flowers. Plant some beautiful exotic trees. Plant some palm tree if you want. Plant some berries if you wish. Plant beautiful, settle down like a beautiful straight line of the nice green grass. Plant nice seeds in your mind. Next time, when you realize and you acknowledge you have a negative thought, turn it off. Immediately turn it off. Say, I refuse to think this thought. This is not my thought. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you that, there are thoughts in my mind. You can also be very kind to the negative thought. Don't attack to it. You can say, thank you. I realize, okay, I understand now you're scaring me, but I'm not going to be scared. Thank you. Thank you that you're trying to take care of me. You're trying to prevent things. You're trying to analyze everything. But that's all right. I'll let this go. And number 3, when you have acknowledged you are thinking about something bad, it's negative. If you turn off the negativity, you have only one final step. The third step is turn on positivity. That's exactly it. It's so easy. Turn off negativity and turn on positivity. Remember about the juice. If you carry on putting that water or that other maybe lime juice or grape juice, your orange juice will come out. Eventually it will come out. Every day take responsibility to take the weeds out. If you imagine, if you ever had a garden or a little maybe a little corner in your balcony where you had something growing, maybe some greens, maybe some salad leaves, or maybe some berries, or maybe just plants. Have you ever noticed that if you come to clean the weeds only once a month, then the weeds will be giant, size and lengthwise? But have you noticed, if every day you take a gray leaf away, the dead leaf away, if you remove the weeds every day, if you water every day, if you put on the sun every day, have you noticed that everything blossoms? Have you noticed how beautiful your garden is? If you don't know, ask people who do gardening. Ask them how many times you need to clean the weeds. They will be like, oh, let's not talk about it all the time. But that is normal. The weed grows without any pressure. It is very easy for the weed to grow, but it's so much harder for a rose to grow. You know how much you need to invest for the rose to grow. It's such a sensitive, delicate flower. And even with my plants, how much I invest. There are specific things that they need to eat. They have specific food. They have a specific sprays. I clean them, I water them, I replant them. They're very big. If I stand up, they will be, if I remove them from the holders that are beneath them, they're my size. They're very big. They're a bit taller than me. So 2 meters. So that takes a lot, because you see, this is the root here, And this is, the leaves. The root is your character. If you choose to be positive, your leaves will be green. Because this is who you are. You practice that. So let's recap one more time. Number one, we acknowledge that we are thinking negative thoughts. We acknowledge we are scaring ourselves. We acknowledge that this is not self-love. We hate ourselves and we put ourselves down. Or we allow somebody else to do that. That you do. It can be that you acknowledge that somebody is being negative. Oh, stop 1 second. You're being negative to me. I don't accept this. Number two, we turn off negativity. We refuse. We let that thought go. We let the negative situation go. We let the negative person go. It can be circumstances. It can be the person. It's not only the thought. Whatever it is, if to stop being negative, thinking negative, you need to switch it off. And the third, final step is to turn on positivity, the positive thoughts, the thoughts that are pleasant, the thoughts that are pure, the thoughts that are delightful, the thoughts that can benefit you in your life. Think about those. Read, make maybe affirmations, do the nice meditation, read some nice story, put some nice music, whatever it takes, however it takes, how much time, effort it takes. Make yourself to be able to turn the positivity on. Finally, I want to say that this is your responsibility. To stop being negative and being positive is a choice. It is your choice, and I believe in you. You can do it. Thank you so much for watching, and I just want to remind you, don't forget to smile today and enjoy your life.